My name is Claire Bennett. I'm 37 years old, and until last Christmas, my family treated my savings account like a public utility. 2 weeks before December 25th, my older brother, Ryan Bennett, walked into the inspection office where I worked. Without even greeting me, he dropped a printed invoice onto my desk. "Cover my son's college expenses," he said, tapping the total with his finger. "Dorm, meal plan, laptop, everything. It's due before January." The amount at the bottom read $16,000. He didn't ask if I could afford it. He didn't explain why he needed help. He simply acted as though paying was my responsibility. I pushed the paper back toward him. "Not happening." His jaw tightened. For a second, I thought he might argue. Instead, he smiled. "We'll discuss it at Christmas." Then he walked away. That smile bothered me far more than the demand itself. A week later, I stopped by my parents' house to return a spare key. As I approached the kitchen, I heard voices through the half-closed door. Ryan was speaking. "Don't worry. After Christmas dinner, she'll pay. I already told everyone she promised." My mother answered immediately. "Of course she will. That's what Claire does." I froze. The key dug into my palm as I listened. They weren't hoping I'd help. They were planning to corner me in front of the entire family and pressure me into saying yes. What neither of them knew was that I had already noticed something strange about the invoice. The university logo looked real. The payment instructions didn't. That night, instead of ignoring my suspicions, I called the university directly. What I discovered turned a simple money request into something much darker. Ryan expected me to arrive at Christmas dinner carrying a check. Instead, I was preparing to bring evidence. I worked as an elevator safety investigator in Pittsburgh. Most people didn't understand my job until an elevator trapped them between floors. My work involved reviewing records, investigating failures, and finding inconsistencies others overlooked. Years of examining accidents had trained me to notice details. Wrong dates, missing signatures, numbers that didn't quite fit. That habit was about to expose my brother. Ryan was 41, 4 years older than me. Growing up, he was always described as full of potential. Whenever he failed a class, my mother blamed the teacher. When he crashed Dad's truck, she blamed the road. When I earned a scholarship, she congratulated me by saying, "Good. Now we can focus on helping Ryan." I learned early that success didn't earn protection. It only made me useful. The pattern followed us into adulthood. When Ryan's first business collapsed, I covered 2 mortgage payments. When he needed dental work, I paid for it. The morning after I overheard Ryan and my mother planning their Christmas ambush, I started asking questions. The first call I made was to my nephew Tyler. He was 18 and finishing his first semester of college. "Your dad says you need $16,000 before January," I said. A long silence followed. "16,000?" Tyler finally asked. "That can't be right." I sat up straighter. "What does your student account say?" "About 6,200. My stomach tightened. "Are you sure?" "Yeah. I checked yesterday." After we hung up, Tyler sent screenshots from his university portal. His balance was *6,240 not 16,000, not even close. Nearly $10,000 was completely unexplained. I pulled Ryan's invoice from my desk and compared every detail. The university logo was authentic. The formatting looked professional, but The payment instructions led somewhere strange. Instead of directing funds to the university, the invoice listed an account at a local credit union. I searched the routing number. The account wasn't connected to the school. It was connected to a branch less than a mile from Ryan's workplace. At that moment, my suspicion became certainty. The invoice was fake. That evening, Ryan texted me. Asterisk, bring a cashier's check to Christmas. Make it payable exactly as listed. Don't make this awkward for Tyler. I stared at the message. He wasn't asking. He was issuing instructions. I saved the text and continued digging. The next day, I called the university's financial services office. Because Tyler was legally an adult, they couldn't discuss private details. But they did confirm one thing. The account listed on Ryan's invoice had absolutely nothing to do with the university. Then another problem surfaced, a much bigger one. Tyler called me later that afternoon. His voice sounded nervous. Aunt Claire, I found something weird. What is it? My student loan refund. What about it? It says it was deposited 3 weeks ago. I frowned. Did you receive it? No. The refund totaled nearly $4,800. Money intended for Tyler had already been transferred elsewhere. When he checked the destination account, the final digits matched the same account listed on Ryan's fake invoice. My blood ran cold. Did you authorize that transfer? No, Tyler whispered. Dad helped me set up my student account. Everything suddenly made sense. Ryan hadn't just created a fake tuition bill. He had redirected his son's loan refund into another account. And now he was trying to squeeze another $16,000 out of me. Tyler was horrified. What happens if I report this? I don't know, I admitted. Could Dad get arrested? The question hung heavily between us. Finally, I answered honestly. If someone takes money that doesn't belong to them, consequences are possible. That night, I advised Tyler to change every password connected to his university account. Then I told him to contact the university's fraud department. Meanwhile, Ryan began calling me nonstop. 6 calls in one day. I ignored everyone. His voicemails became increasingly aggressive. First came guilt, then pressure, then outright threats. You're embarrassing the family. Everyone expects you to help. Christmas dinner will settle this. The final voicemail revealed everything. Pay the bill and be the hero for once. I listened to the recording twice. Then I saved it alongside the fake invoice, Tyler's screenshots, and every text message Ryan had sent. By Christmas Eve, I had assembled a complete file, evidence, timelines, documents, proof. Ryan thought he was preparing a family celebration. What he didn't know was that I was preparing a case, and Christmas dinner was about to become the worst night of his life. Christmas Day arrived cold and gray. By noon, Ryan had already started his performance. He posted a family photo online with the caption, "Grateful for the people who step up when it matters most." The comments poured in. Several relatives congratulated him on Tyler's college success. Others praised me for my supposed generosity. Ryan responded to every comment with a heart emoji. He wanted everyone believing I was about to hand over $16,000. By 5 o'clock, the entire family had gathered at my parents' house. 14 people crowded around the dining table. Ryan greeted me with a smug grin. Ready for tonight? I'm ready, I said. His confidence didn't waver. Not yet. Dinner began normally. Small talk, holiday stories, laughter. Then Ryan stood and tapped his glass. The room fell silent. "I'd like to thank everyone for being here," he announced, "especially my sister Claire." Several relatives smiled, Ryan continued. "She knows family comes first. Tonight she's covering Tyler's entire spring semester." Applause erupted around the room. My aunt even lifted her phone to record the moment. Ryan extended his hand toward me. "You can give him the check now." I calmly folded my napkin. I didn't bring one. The applause stopped instantly. Confused looks spread across the table. Ryan laughed nervously. "Good one. I'm serious." His smile disappeared. My mother leaned forward. "Claire, don't start this." "No," I replied. "This started weeks ago." Tyler stared at his plate. Ryan's voice hardened. "Don't humiliate my son." Before I could answer, Tyler finally spoke. "Dad, stop saying this is for me." The room went silent again. Ryan turned toward him. "What are you doing?" Tyler pulled a printed statement from his pocket and placed it on the table. "My actual balance is $6,240. Several relatives leaned forward. Ryan's face began to lose color. I opened my document case and placed his invoice beside Tyler's statement. "The invoice Ryan gave me is fake." Gasps echoed around the room. My mother grabbed the papers. "What?" "The payment account doesn't belong to the university," I explained. Ryan immediately exploded. "You investigated me?" I verified a $16,000 demand. "You had no right." "I had every right." The argument escalated quickly. Ryan insisted the account was legitimate. He claimed the university recommended it. He blamed administrative errors. He blamed misunderstandings. Every explanation contradicted the last. Finally, I asked the question that shattered him. "Were you fired from Heritage Furniture in October?" The room froze. Ryan stared at me. My father's eyes widened. "Fired?" Ryan said nothing. I continued. "Did your employer discover missing customer deposits?" His jaw tightened. Still no answer. Dad stood up so fast, his chair slammed into the wall. "Answer her." Ryan's silence said everything. Then Tyler delivered the final blow. "My student loan refund went into the same account." The room erupted. Questions flew from every direction. What refund? What account? What is she talking about? Ryan tried blaming the university, then Tyler, then me. But facts are stubborn things. I laid out every document, the fake invoice, the routing information, the screenshots, the text messages, the timeline. One by one, Ryan's lies collapsed. For the first time in his life, nobody rushed to save him. And as the truth settled over the room, I realized something. The confrontation wasn't ending. It was only beginning, because my father had a decision to make. And what he said next would change our family forever. The dining room remained silent after the last document hit the table. Ryan stood frozen. For years, excuses had protected him. This time, there was nowhere left to hide. My father looked from the fake invoice to Tyler's account records and finally to Ryan. Then he spoke. "You stole from your son?" Ryan immediately shook his head. "I was going to put it back." That wasn't my question. The firmness in Dad's voice stunned everyone. Ryan searched the room for support. My mother looked devastated. The relatives who once defended him wouldn't meet his eyes. Tyler stared straight ahead. Nobody moved. Nobody rescued him. Finally, Ryan muttered, "I borrowed it." Dad's expression hardened. You forged documents, redirected his money, and tried to trick Claire into paying for it. I was desperate. No, Dad replied. You were dishonest. The words landed harder than any shout. For the first time in decades, Dad wasn't protecting him. He was holding him accountable. Then Dad reached into a folder beside his chair and removed a document. He placed it on the table. Ryan frowned. What is that? An occupancy notice. The room went still. Ryan picked it up and read the first page. His face went white. You can't be serious. I am. The townhouse where Ryan lived belonged to my parents. He hadn't paid rent in years. Dad folded his arms. You have 60 days to move out. Mom gasped. Robert, Dad didn't look away from Ryan. The property is being sold. You're throwing me out? Ryan shouted. No, Dad said calmly. I'm ending the rescue mission. Ryan looked at me. This was her idea. The trust fund for Tyler was her suggestion, Dad answered. The eviction was mine. For the first time all evening, Ryan seemed frightened. The free house had always been his safety net. Without it, he would have to face reality. Tyler slowly stood. I won't be moving with you. Ryan turned toward him. What? I already arranged campus housing for next semester. The pain on Ryan's face was immediate. Tyler, no. Tyler's voice shook, but he continued. You took my refund. You took money from my savings account. You lied to me. Ryan opened his mouth. Nothing came out. A few minutes later, he grabbed his coat, standing near the front door. He waited for someone to stop him. Nobody did. Not this time. When the door finally slammed behind him, the house felt strangely quiet. Mom cried. Dad sat heavily in his chair. Tyler stared out the window, and I felt something I hadn't expected. Not victory, relief. The weeks that followed changed everything. The university recovered most of Tyler's loan refund and opened a formal investigation. Tyler secured additional financial aid and returned to school. Dad followed through with the sale of the townhouse. A portion of the proceeds went into an education trust that only Tyler could access for verified school expenses. Ryan moved into a rented room across town and took temporary warehouse work. For months, he blamed everyone except himself. But eventually, reality became impossible to avoid. Nearly a year later, he requested a meeting with me. During that conversation, he finally admitted the truth. Because I knew you wouldn't give me money if I told you what really happened. It was the most honest thing he had ever said. I didn't forgive everything that day. Some damage takes longer to heal. But I finally understood something important. Helping someone is not the same as rescuing them from every consequence. Real support requires honesty, accountability, respect. Without those things, generosity becomes exploitation. Ryan thought Christmas dinner would prove I would always surrender. Instead, it became the day I stopped paying for problems I didn't create. And the moment I stopped carrying everyone else's responsibilities, I discovered something worth far more than $16,000. Peace.